Star Wars is full of Easter eggs, and they're fun to spot. From General Grievous's arm in The Mandalorian to Mickey Mouse in The Empire Strikes Back. But cameos can be a bit different. The Book of Boba Fett is a series based on the famed bounty hunter, which releases in just a few short months. But if we know Star Wars, we know there will not be only Easter eggs, but also cameos of some characters that even the most casual Star Wars fans may recognize. But how many cameos are enough? How popular should the characters be that show up? Well, we will discuss the fine line that distinguishes fan service from actual story needs today on Star Wars Fanatic. If you're new to the channel, go on and subscribe and turn on notifications to stay up to date when I upload new content, which I do 2 to 3 times a week. Also, give the video a big thumbs up to show your love for what I do here. When Star Wars Rebels came out, it marked the first of many series coming to Star Wars fans from the Disney-acquired franchise. The show was a success among hardcore Star Wars fans. It had everything we wanted: an intriguing story, action, and the reintroduction of one of the most genius villains to exist, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Before he showed up in the series, we thought the character had been forgotten, due to Timothy Zahn's creation being deemed as non-canonical, or legends. It was an exciting moment for everyone that read the original Thrawn trilogy from the early 1990s. His character moved the Rebels story forward while reintroducing Grand Admiral Thrawn into the new canon, and it made sense. But he wasn't the only character to emerge in the series that fans had loved. The likes of Princess Leia Organa, Ahsoka Tano, Darth Vader, Lando Calrissian, Darth Maul, and Bo-Katan Kryze all had parts to play in the Rebels story. And those are just to name about half of them. Fans were excited when these characters showed their faces in the show. Then comes The Mandalorian. Amazing show, the story of a Mandalorian bounty hunter trying to make ends meet while his culture was in hiding from the Empire, almost wiping them out. Season 1, it proved we didn't need characters from the Skywalker saga storyline to be successful. Then Season 2 came, and we started getting cameos. Bo-Katan Kryze, Ahsoka Tano, and Boba Fett made huge impacts on the main character's story. He learned what a Jedi was, what it really meant to be a Mandalorian, and how to accept that not everyone was a Mandalorian like him. In the last episode, Luke Skywalker makes an appearance. Fans went crazy, myself included. We actually get to see a young Luke Skywalker, powerful in the Force, like his Legends counterpart. Now, in 3 months, we get the Book of Boba Fett. Finally, we get a show about one of the most mysterious characters to have graced the screen in 1980 and 1983 in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, respectively. He only had a few minutes of screen time and fewer words. If there have been 3 things Star Wars fans have been begging for, it's an Obi-Wan Kenobi series, a Knights of the Old Republic remake, and a Boba Fett solo project. Well, it looks like we're getting all 3. But let's focus on the Boba Fett project. It's called the Book of Boba Fett, but for those of you who don't know, it's actually a series. As excited as we are for this, the writers will have to decide how many cameos should there be and who should make appearances. Well, I'd like to help them out with that. This series has the potential of being one of the best things to happen to live-action Star Wars series to date. Yes, The Mandalorian is amazing, but this is a character we have been longing to see kick ass for almost 2 generations. The show also has the potential of standing on its own 2 legs, but it has to have a few cameos. I'm sorry, that's the story of Boba Fett. With his younger self appearing in the Clone Wars, Boba Fett had interactions with most of the major characters and side characters that Star Wars fans love. Let's not forget, he has had interactions with the likes of Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, Bossk, and Zuckuss, just to name a few. But how many cameos will be enough for his show? I've made several Boba Fett fan fictions. One was about his newer interactions with Luke Skywalker, and another arc has him running into an old Mace Windu. Sure, it makes the galaxy seem small, but how big can a galaxy be when a princess ends up sending 2 droids to the planet the one droid was built on by her father, only to run into her estranged brother who is being watched over by her father's former master? But I digress. Who should we see in the Book of Boba Fett, and why? Well, my thoughts are pretty plain. In the first season, it should be about Boba versus the Hutts. In this struggle, the Hutts will likely hire old colleagues of Boba to go after him. Bosk, Dengar, IG-88, and possibly Zuckuss, if he didn't retire after losing his best friend 4LOM. But the biggest that will try to claim the bounty on Boba Fett will be none other than Cad Bane. He makes sense to be in this story. If this story is truly going to be about revenge, Cad Bane will feel like he needs vengeance against Boba Fett. These cameos and live-action appearances will be more than welcome. We have not seen any of them in live-action scenes. Their appearances will seem natural. They were with Boba when we first saw him, aside from Cad Bane, and this will finish their stories out. Beyond that, there should be no other appearances from legacy characters. But what about new characters? In the first season, presuming there will be more, Cobb Vanth is a must. He's the sheriff of Tatooine, and that's where Boba Fett is. It makes sense, and it will be natural. Near the end of the first season, we will most likely see Din Djarin, Greef Karga, and possibly Miggs Mayfeld. Why Mayfeld? He became a fan favorite, and I think his story is going to continue with a new name. Remember, he's a fugitive now. But what about bigger characters? Well, let's take Luke Skywalker, for example. Should he really be in it? I don't think so. I know I wrote a fan fiction about them meeting, but that was before the events of The Mandalorian, and that can be told in a novel or comic book. If Lucasfilm and Disney truly want to get away from the Skywalkers, keep Luke out. Save him for an appearance in The Mandalorian Season 3, where he gives Grogu back to Din Djarin and leaves promptly. I'm not anti-Luke, but I think there is a place for everything, and Luke doesn't have to show up in every bit of media released about Star Wars. The Book of Boba Fett needs to stay away from the Force as much as possible. But I also don't think Han Solo should be in it either. What about Mace Windu? Only if done right. He is the only Force sensitive other than Ahsoka that makes sense. I say Ahsoka because she has ties to the Mandalorians. I think the Mace Windu bit should be similar to my own fanfiction, not a story of revenge, but of forgiveness. The Jedi suffered, and that may be revenge enough for Boba Fett. To see Mace Windu, an old man and shadow of his former self. No longer dangerous, but rather he's kind of pathetic. But I think this would also make a good novel or comic. I'd even write it for them if they want. But in all seriousness, not every show or movie has to be about Jedi, Sith, or even the Force. If I have one complaint about The Mandalorian, it's the addition of this element. Maybe I'm alone in this thought, but I'd like to see a Star Wars story that expands the universe to other cultures. Finish the story of the Mandalorians, or at least take it to a safe place and move them into other types of struggles, whether it be internal or with other warring cultures, such as those who exiled the Mandalorians' ancient ancestors, the Zell. I wouldn't mind seeing that type of revenge story. But what do you think? Should Jedi be in every Star Wars story? Of course, that was what Star Wars was founded on, and I do love a good Jedi and Sith battle, just not for this story. But let me know in the comments if you have a different opinion. I'd love to talk about it with you. That's the great thing about Star Wars, we can disagree and still love the franchise. But if you are new here, go on and hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay up to date on all my Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, and general Star Wars content releases. Also, give the video a like and to show your support and love for what I do here. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.